You're mean.
Oh, those are big, mighty steps there. Reminds me of the old bus seats.
These are full. I think you can fold these down and make beds out of them.
So which one do you want to sit in?
This one.
Yeah. As soon as we walked in, I was like, oh, wow. See you pick your seat.
Eyeball!
Not already picked out, definitely go inside this red building off on the right-hand side. That is where we keep the nicest of our restored cars, is in there. So that's the coach shed. Definitely check that one out. Coming up on the left-hand side of the train, we will be passing in just a moment the engine house. That's where we maintain our locomotives and do restoration work on our steam locomotives. And immediately on the other side of that engine house, you see one of the locomotives sitting outside, taken apart, that we are working on. It's taken out Timber Company number 2. So as we pass the building, you'll see a silver-colored boiler, and you'll be able to sort underneath the car next to it as we work on it. So it should be right here is one of the ones that will be restored here in the next few years. After that, we have our car shop building, which will be coming up on the left-hand side. You'll see some volunteers in there. On the right-hand side, we're passing by Chicago Northwestern number 1385. That's another steam locomotive we're working on restoring back to operating condition. That's actually our flagship locomotive. We pulled the circus train back about 20 years ago from Maryland to Milwaukee. That's a pretty major project. That's going to be about $1.8 million or so to get that running again. So it's a very major undertaking. And our primary source of funding for this museum is through ticket sales. So you're helping us by being here today, so thank you very much for that. This is a primarily volunteer-run organization. I'm a volunteer here today. We do have a core staff to help run the place from day to day, but all the restoration work and a lot of the training crew, everyone here today is going to be volunteers. If you're ever interested in getting involved in the Mid-Continental Railway Museum, the first step is to become a member. So if that interests you, you can talk to our ticket agent and get a membership application. So, out on the left-hand side, we see that after we pass by the car shop, we have a lot of cars that are not so great looking. A lot of them we try to cover up with tarps to protect them, but that's the before picture, and then what you see up in the display building by the road, that's the after picture. So that's the kind of transformations that go under here. Okay, ready? Well, I guess if you'd like to have your tickets out, I will begin collecting those. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Engine powers an electric generator. It's actually electric motors that then turn wheels. It's similar in a lot of ways to an electric car, but it's a little heavier duty. The locomotive was built in 1954 and used by the U.S. Army. I'm not repeating myself, am I? Did I already mention this?
What's that?
Did I already mention the train? Okay, I was talking to sometimes they get confused with cars. So the locomotive was built in 1953 or 54 and used by the U.S. Army at various Army bases around the country. And ended up in the Master Army Ammunition Plant just south of Baraboo here. When that closed down a few years back, it was put up for auction, and the Continental was able to purchase it, or I should say a few members purchased it and then donated it to the museum. The car that you're in here, this was a commuter car, dates back to 1914. It was used on the Chicago Northwestern Railway. It was a commuter car in the Chicago area. And so if you ever ride Chicago Metro, sometimes they refer to it as like the Northwest line, Northwest branch out of Chicago. This was one of the cars that would travel on that line. Back in 1914. Until the 1950s or so before it was retired. So, a similar story with the car behind us there. That was a commuter car for the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western Railway. It was used out in the New York City area. Home terminal was Hoboken, New Jersey, just on the other side of the river from Manhattan. Finally, the caboose behind us, that came off the Duluth, Mesabi, and Iron Range Railroad. And was built in 1924. And cabooses would typically be found just on freight trains, not on passenger trains. And that was kind of a work area, an area for the crew to observe that back half of the train for safety net. But on passenger cars, the crew ride right along the side. Look out the side windows and that, so it wasn't necessary so much on passenger trains. We would have that aspect of the freight train. In all, right now, our train weighs about 250 tons in all. This car alone weighs 60 tons. And with that, 250 tons total, we are getting about 1 mile per gallon with our diesel engine right now. Yeah, it sounds bad when you first say it, but actually for as much weight as we're pulling, it would change it a whole lot to add a few more cars on. We'd actually be pretty efficient. In just a moment, we're going to be passing by a building here with false front. That is the former LaRue Tavern building. This was This is now a ghost town. Back about 1900, iron mining started up in the area. In fact, one of the two iron mines along this line is located just beyond the curve of the road over there. Nothing really remains of it except for a few tailings piles of the materials that they dug out, but wasn't desirable. Can be found over there, but otherwise everything is pretty much gone. And but the town here, including the tavern, consisted of about 50 to 80 people during the iron mining period from about 1900 until about 1920. However, the iron mines, once they got deep enough, about 500 feet underground, they ran into almost groundwater flowing into the mines. It had to be pumped out at the rate of about 4,000 gallons per minute in order to keep it dry enough to work in. Eventually, that just became too costly. They shut the whole operation down. That was the end of the iron mining era in Sauk County here, south central Wisconsin. The line then, with the iron mines gone, the line was going to be put up for abandonment. However, with World War I starting up right around the same time, the line was actually extended instead to reach a quartzite quarry. The quartzite rock was used for lining blast furnaces, which was very important during manufacturing of military items for World War I. So this line was extended, and that quarry kept this line open until late 1950s. Then it was again going to be put up for abandonment when that quarry shut down. But at the same time, a group of rail enthusiasts wanted to start up a museum. They purchased a locomotive and wanted a place to run it. Found this place for sale and bought it in 1962. They were then known as the Railway Historical Society of Milwaukee. They moved here. They changed the name to Mid-Continental Railway Museum. We've been here since 1963. That rock quarry, as I mentioned, is the rock quarry is the end of the line. So we're coming up about a half mile away from it right now. So we'll be stopping here at the end of the line. What we're going to do is take the engine off that end of the train, move it around on the passing track, and hook it up to the caboose for the return trip so the engineer can see where he's going. He always likes that. That whole process is going to take about 15 minutes. So during that time, you have a chance to look at a few displays. And, the crews will be moving the engine around. I'll try to explain a little bit what's going on and what those hand signals that they're using mean and everything. So we'll be here for about 15 minutes. You're welcome to get off and check everything out during that time. Once we're hooked up to the caboose again, then we'll head back to North Freedom. Keep your hand.
Nice breeze.
Aren't you glad I brought my phone? Aren't you glad I brought my phone?
Yep. What's the engine?
Sure.
I want you to play it.
You know, I can edit these, by the way. Which I have to get that program to Mrs. Pastor.
There, probably two. The other one's 12. She's actually in the military summer camp. Her mother and dad and her You get ready to move. See that?
Ted, Dad, Dad,
Need more?
Smoking papers a little bit to keep the women and children free from all the cigar smoke that they were like 100 years ago. They might tell you there's no restrooms on the train, which is true now, but wasn't always the case. This was a restroom right here. The toilets had to be removed because this was no longer legal to operate the way it was set up, because the plumbing system 100 years ago on the train car was very simple. Open up the toilet seat and look at the tracks down below. And that is not up to code anymore, so you got to take that out. We have these high ceilings in these train cars. That's part of this pre-air conditioning design. And you got to get that hot air up the top, and then before they were welded shut, whenever the car was taking out of service, those would open up and you could vent the hot air out the top. We should do that today a little bit more, but that way you wouldn't have to rely on the windows being open in order to get some ventilation. Probably the last thing you want to hear me talk about today is the heating system, but briefly mention the car is heated by steam power. There's pipes along the walls down by your feet. That's what it would apply the steam throughout the train car. Back in that baggage area, there's a little boiler close over there that would fire up and circulate the water throughout the train car and provide heat. The other car there does not have a stove. Never mind how being connected to a car that does have one, or turn the steam locomotive. Bring up any other questions, or are we doing good?
Of course, tell me more. I got settling this up there.
Alright, well, I guess I'll talk about their car for a few minutes, but